that led me to just having a conversation with the Oilers. We just chatted about like, why don't we do a more fashion forward line? And there was a big gap in the market for unique garments that people want to wear and like kind of have these legacy pieces. There's just like a wave of female fans that are now interested.
That's Lauren Kyle McDavid. I'm Cara Duffy, and this is the Powerful Ladies podcast. Lauren Kyle McDavid is building an empire, and there's no signs of her slowing down. She is self-made and currently running 4 businesses: Kyle & Co. interior design firm, Trove Living, Bard Trove, and Sports Club Atelier, with endless ideas on the horizon, plus her own personal brand. She's also juggling the location, schedule, and emotion support demands of being an NHL hockey wife. In this episode, we dive into how she does it all and how she juggles it all. We talk about her confidence, vision, team building, and why it matters so much that you follow your heart and say yes to all of your beautiful ideas. Welcome to the Powerful Ladies podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I am very excited that we're talking today. It's taken a little bit of scheduling to make this appointment work because, as we were just saying, you are very busy. Your husband's very busy. You're launching about 15 things at once, it looks like.
Yeah.
And so we were connected from the amazing Olivia Ivy Bannock, and she sent the most raving review in for a referral. I'm going to quote her.
So sweet.
She said that you are one of the most ambitious and driven women I know. She goes after exactly what she wants and sees it through to completion. She's amazing as a human and we would be a fantastic guest.
Oh, that is so sweet. Well, I can absolutely say the same about her. So we definitely have a lot in common, and she spoke so highly of you. So I'm very excited to be here and chat with you a little bit more.
Let's tell everyone your name, where you are in the world, and what you're up to.
My name is Lauren Kyle McDavid. We just got back home from Edmonton, just arrived in our Aurora house in Ontario. We were at the cottage up this weekend, and we're home for the summer.
And for people who may not know why are you bouncing between Edmonton and Ontario?
Yeah, well, my husband is a professional hockey player. He plays for the Edmonton Oilers. And we are originally both from Ontario. So we spend the hockey season in Edmonton, and then we come home for the summer months. So about 3 months of the year, spend time with family, friends, and enjoy the lake a little bit.
When we were first supposed to connect, it was the morning after, I think, Game 3, when it went into overtime. Yeah. And I was texting Olivia. I'm like, I've already thrown the remote at the TV like 5 times.
Yeah. No kidding. I know.
How do you stay calm? Because you have so much going on that we're about to dive into. That's all your stuff. You're so accomplished. You have so much going on. And then you also have to hold space for a huge career that your husband also has. Like, how do you balance all the stress you have plus whatever stress he's bringing into your space too?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely tough. I think that in general, like the games bring, especially in the finals against a team that, we lost against last year and we were hoping to have redemption this year. It was hard to compose myself in those moments. Like, I mean, the next day I was supposed to go on the podcast and I was emotionally drained and mentally drained. So it's definitely hard. I can't say it's easy. I think for me, I always just try to focus on my own businesses and like staying present for those things in my life, because it gives me a distraction and allows me to, ground myself a little bit in those moments. And I do know that I need to show up for Connor in a way in order to be strong for him. Like, I can't have all of the emotions because he needs someone who has some strengths and composure, at least in front of him. I mean, I definitely sometimes don't have composure when I'm not around him, but definitely in front of him, I try to show up in a way that, provides him with support too.
You have been very busy. And I'm going to list the businesses that I'm aware of. You tell me if I'm missing any. We
Okay.
have Kyle and Co., your interior design firm. We
Yeah,
have Bar Trove, which is about to open.
it's open. Yeah,
It's open.
it's
Okay.
fully open now. Mm.
And you have Sports Club Atelier.
Yeah,
You have Trove Living.
yeah.
Am I missing anything?
Well, technically, I've been working on a cookbook for 4 years, so that's something that's also in the works and almost done. And that is called the Atelier table. So that's another business, I suppose. And then I try to do some brand deals. So that's about it. That's
That's,
it.
just a few things.
Yeah, just a few.
So I believe was the first one Kyle and Co.
Yeah, that was my first business.
When did you start that? And did you know immediately upon kind of graduation that that's the track you were going into?
Yeah, I mean, I did a full 360 pivot in grade 11. Actually, sorry, grade 12, second semester. Might seem a little crazy. I entirely switched schools because there was another school that had an interior design course. And I just decided, like, I'm going to follow the path that makes me the happiest and that I'm the most passionate about. Previous to that, I thought I was going to be a physiotherapist and follow my mom's career trajectory. But I knew that like my soul was creative and I needed to be in something that fulfilled me creatively. So switched gears, changed into that program, and then I went to fine art school for a year to build up my portfolio to get into school. I think deep down I knew that I wanted to go into it. I mean, I was a very vivacious like child. I was always moving things around and reorganizing and redecorating. So it was always a skill I'd had and something I was always interested in.
I loved the story I read in our research about your one of your mother's favorite moments of you surprising them for their anniversary when you were like 8.
Yeah.
So usually I ask people when you were 8, would you imagine that this is your life? So it sounds like some parts of this you would have imagined.
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone grows up having a dream of what they want to be when they're older. I don't know if mine was necessarily super clear growing up. I think I had lots of things that I wanted to do, but it was always grounded in creativity. So I would say, yeah, I would imagine I would be in some sort of creative career. I didn't know what that would look like, but it landed me here today.
So how long were you doing Kyle and Co before you introduced your next business?
Yeah, so I had moved to Edmonton after I graduated, and the only thing that made sense was to start my business right off the bat because of the travel schedule. I mean, we're only in Edmonton for X amount of months a year and then back to Ontario in the summer. So I knew I couldn't really get a job that would allow me to do that, especially in the space I was in. Um, so I was just taking the plunge. We built our house in my last year of university, took the plunge into that career. And then I think my next business that I would have created, I guess the cookbook started around then.
Mhm.
And then the next business that I would have opened would have been Sports Club Atelier.
For everyone who
And
doesn't
that
know,
was,
I was
yeah,
going to
sorry, go
just,
ahead.
can you tell more about the Sports Club Atelier business? Because it's, to me, I spent 20 years in footwear and apparel, mostly sportswear, streetwear. And to me, I think this is such a smart idea and so missing. So let's tell everyone a little bit about that business.
Yeah, it all started with me helping design jackets for our playoffs. If anyone doesn't know, the jacket culture in the league is every team that's making the playoffs, they design their own jackets. And it kind of started, I think it's getting more advanced. Like it kind of started piecemealing together, jackets that existed and then getting some custom letters and numbers on the jackets. And then it evolved into me taking a little bit more interest in it. And I started working with manufacturers and understanding a little bit more about garments and design and the whole thing. So that led me to just having a conversation with the Oilers, and we just chatted about like, why don't we do a more fashion forward line? I think we all saw it missing in the market, and there was a big gap in the market for a variety of just unique garments that people want to wear and like kind of have these legacy pieces. And you could see it in other sports too. I mean, NFL with Kristen, in her line, I think you could see it happening and kind of getting some traction. And I think especially just fans in general, like if you, I've done some research on it, but there's just like a wave of female fans that are now, interested, and we are growing. We're growing like a ton having female fans in the league. And I think it was just missing. So started this line, started with the Oilers. I ended up building a team around it and using my manufacturers. And then we're planning on expanding to other teams now.
So I want to come back to Sports Club Atelier and
Yeah.
the shifting of women fans in sports. Because, of course, we're hearing so much about the explosion of the WNBA and other professional sports leagues, adding female teams and female leagues into things. And even before Taylor Swift started going to all the games, like women have, at least my generation, I played sports. I played field hockey in college. I grew up, my dad swears Gretzky was like the first word I said. I don't believe it.
That's too funny.
Yeah. So being a woman who's always been sports oriented,
yeah,
I don't know. I guess like for me, it's of course women are watching. Like, why haven't we been paying attention and acknowledging the fan base? And the past couple of years in particular, we've seen the economic power of women and how much it's shifting. And so it's like, I love that you saw an opportunity and just asked to change it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Where does that confidence, gumption, where does that come from?
Ooh, I don't know. I think I was maybe born with it. Born with it, but in a sense, like you build confidence over the years. And I think I've become more confident in myself by taking on more things and putting myself in uncomfortable positions. I mean, I would say I have a confidence in the sense that I always have an idea of what I want to do and then I actually do it. And I think that's something about me that I just was kind of born with. But confidence on my own self have grown for sure. I've never loved public speaking. I've like grown into that aspect of businesses. But yeah, that's kind of where it came from, I guess. A little bit of both, nature and nurture.
Well, I joke that all the businesses I've started have been because I either respond to something saying, well, that's stupid, or that's awesome. Like it's one of those two things where like, I want to fix something, or it's like, of course we have to make that. Why doesn't it exist right now? Mm. And I think some people get really self-conscious about having an idea and just thinking about you, like, okay, if I talk to the Oilers about this idea and it doesn't go somewhere, do I look like an idiot? Or like just the idea of like, for me, how I think about ideas is that they're always step by step. So like I take the pressure off myself to see what happens next. Yeah. Are you thinking about it that way too?
Yeah, definitely. I think I definitely ground into the fact that like if I don't do it, I'm going to be more regretful that I didn't do it, and then if someone else will do it. So just trying to get ahead of it, and that's where my ideas come from. Also, you just mentioned, that you create ideas by if it's like a problem or, something that you can fix. I think for me, it's been like, how can I make things like more beautiful, and how can I like bring beauty into the world? And I think that's how I think of everything that I'm doing. And that's where my drive comes from as well. But I think better to do something than not to do it at all.
Yeah.
And look like an idiot,
Well, and what a magical, like powerful one to like, be like, we're going to make this beautiful today. And just know, because you've proven to yourself that you've done it once before, like you now know how. Because I think we also get stopped a lot with great ideas because we're like, I don't know how to make this happen. When you get to a point where like, oh, I've never made a jacket before. I've never done these things. Where does your brain go to next of how do we actually execute on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I learn a lot from my business coach. So that's definitely helped me build all these different businesses in a way that I don't need to have a ton of experience with it, but I know how to build a team. I know how to build a foundation, and I kind of like know how to build processes. So I think that for me, I always think of what she says to me, who has believability in that area. So even if it's manufacturing, like I know you're not an expert on it, but who do you know that has believability? And then I just go to my network of people, or I look for someone who has believability. And you just have to build a team of people who really know what they're doing
Mhm.
and have a vision behind it. And that's how I've structured um, moving these businesses forward.
Yeah. Um, I've worked with a lot of clients who are interior designers, and they tend to get kind of stress points in a couple places. One is delegating to people on their team, which you just mentioned, having teams. And the second
Yeah,
is the confidence or strategy to go after their dream clients. In the journey of Kyle and Co, like, have those been kind of steps you've had to get through? And if yes, how did you get through them?
100%. I think with Kyle and Co, it was a learning curve, right? Because I hadn't been through how to grow a team really quickly. So it was difficult for me to make those decisions and to like give up freedom around decision making, especially when it's around like a creative idea and a creative concept, and someone's home. You don't want to just pass off all of the decisions to a team member. But I learned what to delegate, what's important to delegate versus what's important to make as decisions on your own, and try not to, take on all the little things, because your team can do the little things and you can be involved in just the bigger decisions. And what does that look like? And it took time for sure. And it took time to train a team, especially when it comes to around design work, and your style, and helping them understand what your aesthetic is and what your decisions would look like. So yeah, it took time, and it definitely wasn't easy at the start.
Yeah. One of my key phrases I go back to is that everything is delegatable. And my
Hmm.
joke with that is, if we can delegate giving birth to somebody else, we can definitely delegate anything in our businesses. And so,
That's a good one. I like that.
but I think a lot of people who their zone of genius is in that creativity, creative direction, the art direction part of things, they find it really hard to kind of, how do I translate how my brain works to somebody else?
Yeah.
Because we usually say that we don't trust people right away, but I always find it's not the trust, it's that we don't know how to articulate what we see to someone else. And I
Yeah.
think once you can unlock that, it
Hmm.
becomes this superpower of, okay, I've taught one person how to see a room the way I do. Now I can teach somebody else. And
For sure.
I imagine it's the only way that you've been able to do all of these businesses while moving back and forth
Yeah.
between two places throughout the year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you have to learn how to be a really good teacher, and you have to learn how to just constantly be in communication with your team and asking them what do you need from me in order to solve this gap, or in order to feel really confident in yourself when you're making decisions. Like, how can I help you understand, you know, how can I help you develop these skills and develop, this sense of understanding what Kyle and Co is about and what our design aesthetic is about. And that's constantly teaching. We did a lot of, and we do a lot of design sessions where I go through my thinking around design, and I'm just constantly, trying to share with the team and say my do's and don'ts. And, if I don't like something, I'm pretty vocal about it, and I explain my thought process around it. So yeah, you have to learn how to be a really good teacher. And my life now in Kyle and Co looks like that. I don't do a ton of the design work. I'm not hands on the grounds for all of our projects. I'm teaching them, I'm reviewing, I'm, being really high level about it, because they've developed a skill to understand what Kyle and Co is about and what our design aesthetic is. So,
Well, yeah, and it allows you to go from doing to actually CEOing, which,
mhm,
again, the only way to be running multiple businesses. Like,
yeah.
I have 3 right now. And there are days that I wake up and I'm like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it can only happen because I have a team to give things away to. Otherwise, it's impossible.
Yeah.
Like it's even impossible to run one business by yourself. So
Yeah,
um,
for sure.
there's that phrase that business owners do and entrepreneurs lead, and
Yeah,
that's you can't lead if there's no team.
exactly. For sure. It's definitely important.
How did you go from Kyle and Co to deciding I need to open up a bar?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think anyone who knows me knows that I love to host, and in another world, I might be an event planner, or I might be, someone who loves to entertain and have people over. And that's just a passion of mine. It worked naturally because the building that we're renting right now, it has 3 floors. It's like 9,000 square feet. We had too much square footage to even know what we were going to do with it. So it made sense to have this. The concept originally started thinking, oh, we should just do a little wine bar with charcuterie. And that way, if our clients are purchasing furniture, they can come down and have a snack and a glass of wine and celebrate, and make it more of this like holistic approach to the design process, and make it more fun and entertaining, and just more of a something that you can go do, like an activity. So that's where it started from. And then it just developed because I started talking about this bar. I'm like, well, if we're doing a bar, let's just do it. Let's just do it all out. Let's have an amazing chef. Let's have a great menu. Let's, make it the place to be. So it just kind of evolved from there.
Yeah. And within that, you have Trove Living.
Yeah.
How does that fit into your empire?
It fits in so seamlessly. I mean, I think one of our biggest issues with our design process is furniture. And I think I was just noticing, like, we're working with these clients who are spending a lot of money on furniture packages. And there's really was like little places to go in Edmonton where I could take clients, have them sit on furniture and really experience what they're purchasing. But yeah, it just, again, I was solving a gap for my business and for the market, I felt, because we had very modern furniture stores and we have very traditional furniture stores. There was no like contemporary in between. Was missing a lot of my favorite furniture lines that I can go try out in Edmonton. So that's where it came from. And it's been amazing so far, like just being able to have a meeting with the client and then take them downstairs and have them sit on pieces. It makes our life and our design process so much easier, and just more holistic.
When you look at how your year is planned, of course, part of your year is dictated by your husband's schedule. How do you plan your year for your businesses, and when you choose to take breaks and maybe go into more of like a brainstorming creative space versus a very active client and vendor facing space?
Yeah, I would say it's a month to month based on needs, even to week. This year, I hired an assistant, which was the best decision I've ever made. So we have Monday meetings and Friday meetings, and we go over my week and we talk about, what's the important action items. And I would say every hour of my day is scheduled, even from my working sessions, what I know I need to get done in the week. If it's working on some design aspect, or if it's an internal review, if it's, something to do with my social media stuff, everything is scheduled into and blocked out of my calendar. So definitely my assistant is a big part of that, and really being intentional with my time.
Do you mind sharing like how big is if you add up all the people who support your companies, how big would you say your team is?
So I'd have to do a deep dive on Bar Trove because I know we've been doing some hires and whatnot. I want to guess around just over 20,
Yeah.
maybe 25, if I added everyone up. Yeah.
Because I think too, like people think as well, like another myth when people are starting businesses is
Yeah.
when they see successful businesses that are in the 7+ figure range, they think there must be hundreds of people supporting those businesses. And I'm like, no, it has to be in the hundreds of millions of dollar businesses to support that
Yeah.
many
Yeah.
people.
100%.
And so
Yeah.
I think that, I'm so glad you have an assistant. My first recommendation is always like, who's your right hand for the
Yeah.
first hire? Um, because again, like you have to replicate yourself, but you can do so much with one other person and then
Yeah.
five other people. And
For sure.
it's, I think it's actually fun to be like pulling together who the people are. Cause again, everyone doesn't need to be
Yeah.
full time either.
Exactly. I think it's all about who you're hiring. It's about the people because honestly, one person can equal to two people depending on how talented they are or how, efficient of workers they are. And I think it's just about hiring like a really good team and having people in place that can like be rock stars and know exactly what they're doing. I think that's really important.
Where do you go either in real life or online to come back to keeping yourself inspired and excited about the future of design?
Yeah, where do I go? I think there's people that inspire me. There's a few key people in the design world that I'm inspired by. I mean, Sally Wursler, trying to think off the top of my head, who else? Like Jeremiah Brent, like anyone in the design world that's like on the 80, 100, I'm always looking at because they always find a way to stay true to what their design ethos is, but also keep propelling in that space. And then I think the world of fashion inspires me. I'm really interested in it. And I love being inspired by, the way that we see ourselves and the way that, we're moving forward in that world. Yeah, those are my biggest fashion, just interiors, even just like beautiful things of the world, like new restaurants and all that. Yeah, I get inspired by a lot of things.
What I was so excited about in regards to your story, and an article recently came out about it, is that there's a perception of WAGs, the wives and girlfriends
Mhm.
of professional athletes. And I almost feel, in regards to your relationship, that your husband should be intimidated by you. Like you guys met when you were teenagers. You've been crushing it. You keep adding new things. That'd be the equivalent of him playing like on five different sports teams or in different sports in general. And
Yeah.
you're completely rewriting what that means. And there's nothing wrong with the traditional WAG either.
Yeah.
But so
100%.
often their businesses or what they're up to come from that celebrity focus. And it's not the same as like someone who, like, you've clearly been building things that are aligned with you and your heart and what you're inspired by. And like you're
Yeah.
fully building an empire. Um,
Yeah.
how, like, does that allow you to still relate to other women who are in the clubhouse with you? Do you feel like
Yeah.
you're an anomaly in these spaces? Like, how do you
No,
flow
not at
between the
all.
worlds?
Yeah. First off, I would say like, Connor and I are just like our biggest cheerleaders for each other. So like very lucky to have that. And he just wants me to succeed as much as I want him to succeed. And I think when I think of like the community and space, I really separate it completely.
Yeah.
I think that everyone has their own journey, and whether that looks like, killing it as a mom, which there's so many girls that I look up to
Yeah.
when I think of, how they're showing up for their families. And it's very inspiring in its own way. So I show up in a group like I would show up even if I didn't have any of these businesses. I think what goes along hand in hand with, my personality is I'm an entertainer.
Mhm.
And in that sense, I'm kind of a leader on a team where I want to like bring people together and I want to create, experiences for everyone to connect, because I think that's such an important part of the hockey world. I think obviously what's going on the team is important, but everyone and every player is affected by their partners and their partner's happiness and what they're going through. And I think if I can play a little part in making people feel like they're in a really comfortable, homey, accepting environment, that's what I strive to do in my own way. And I think that's kind of how I've always been trying to connect people. So it's a really important part of my life that doesn't have anything to do with business.
Yeah, but it's rounding out who you are, right? And yeah, it's just it's making you more powerful, quite frankly, right? Because and not in an aggressive way, but in a like white light type of way, because
Yeah.
you're able
Yeah. It comes
to.
from like, for sure. Yeah. It comes from like just a place of like caring, I think. And yeah, just making, I think the hockey world is interesting and it can feel really lonely too.
Mhm.
And I want to make sure that if I can help, I'm making people feel comfortable and not lonely and in a really good community. So yeah,
And I would say that those sound like values and themes that go through everything you're doing.
yeah, for sure.
Mhm. When you hear the words powerful and ladies, how would you define them? And do their definitions change when they're next to each other?
Ooh, that's a good question. When I hear the word powerful, I think of a force. I think of you know, someone who is finding purpose in life and, you know, putting everything they can into it. And then ladies, I mean, I think that powerful should just be in ladies because I think all women are powerful in their own way. And I think that, you know, everyone has their own journey and we're all powerful in our own way and we're all doing things that are impactful and it looks different. And yeah,
For people who have so many ideas and they don't know where to begin, what advice would you give them?
I think I think choose one at first and focus on that. Choose the one you're most passionate about, whatever idea that may be. And just block out time for that idea. Like, you know, make action items, move forward like it's a project and just don't give up. You know, keep consistency is really important and use your network of people or just put yourself out there and, you know, send a message to someone who might help you move that forward or someone that you know is like an expert in that field. I've definitely sent out some cold call
Mhm.
messages myself and it's so uncomfortable, but it's important to do. And you never know who you're going to connect with and you never know how they can help you. So I think that's really important.
We talked at the beginning when we were listing all of the businesses that you're running, that one of them is also you as a brand. I've been talking to a lot of clients about making sure that while their businesses are successful, they're also stepping into that thought leadership space
Mhm.
of them as a brand and what that means and how it impacts the other things they're up to. How important is building like the Lauren Kyle brand to the
Yeah.
success of what you're up to now and what you're shooting for in the future?
Yeah. I think it's safe to say that in general, the world is moving towards brands being about people and it being about the story rather than so attached to the product, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. So while that's important, like definitely I think your brand and the way you show up to the world is important to your businesses. And for me, it's always just about expanding my brand and being really authentic to who I am and hoping that comes across to the audience and hoping it comes across to the people that are supporting me in a very authentic way so that they can understand my passion behind the businesses and you know why I'm creating them and maybe that will make them become a supporter as well like it all everything it affects all of your businesses it affects your brand definitely tells a story about what you're representing and what these businesses are about and how they're created.
How do other powerful women in your life, how have they guided you, supported you? What do they mean to you today?
Yeah, I think that I've been lucky to have a great family who supports me. I think, for example, my mom and dad, all my family, I went into a career that is more risky technically, in a sense where it's just not the norm. And they cared more about me doing something I'm happy about and passionate about rather than what is safe. And that has really helped me grow and helped me feel really confident in my decision and my businesses. And then, yeah, just having like an incredible group of friends who always show up and support me no matter what is really special. Every one of my community is just like always wants me to succeed, and will always show up if I'm having something important with my career that they can be involved in. So yeah, I'm just lucky to have such a great group. Even the hockey girls, like
Yeah.
all of the team have been so supportive. All of them have showed up for any sort of event I have. And it means a lot to have, that community of women who are just happy for you and want to support you and see you succeed.
Well, and I imagine that you probably, whether it's conscious or subconscious, like who you're choosing to be in your circle as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, exactly.
Because I think there's a
Yeah.
lot of people who, when they start doing entrepreneurial journeys and going after what you really care about, like there's a vulnerability component to it. And
Hmm.
there's a lot of people who I know who have had gone through, while they are going after their extraordinary life, they've had to be really selective about who stays and who's allowed
Yeah.
in, because we do
Yeah.
have to protect our bubble. Because I mean, for me anyway, I'd love to hear about for you, but like there are moments when
Yeah.
I'm like, that's it, we're burning it all down.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I think you spoke to how important it is. And I think there's two aspects of it. One is obviously just friends who are want to see you happy and want to see
Mhm.
you succeed. And that's all they care about. And also, like, I'm putting myself out there in the world a lot for judgment. Like, no matter what, the more I grow, the more judgment I'm going to have and the more eyes I'm going to have on me. And this world is kind of a very judgmental place at times, and I'm exposing myself to that. So, you want to make sure your friend group is also just lifting you up and not tearing you down. And the second part of it is time. Like, I had to honestly, like, my friends, I'm so thankful for them because I I haven't been able to show up this year as like the best friend that I possibly can be and like the most communicative friend that I can be. And I think all of them know that it's not on purpose. I just had a really busy year and they don't take it personally. And like every time we connect, it's amazing. But it's something that, I didn't love about this year that was so busy that I kind of lost a little bit. But it's important that your friends like understand it's just the reality of, life getting busy for a little bit. So it's also something I would say is important.
What are some rituals or habits that you must have in order to kind of operate at your best, to kind of hold space for all the things that you're up to?
Yeah, I think for me, it's like finding some sort of balance, whatever that looks like. Being really intentional around communication, like over communicating, is always really helpful to me. And then just setting consistent meetings for me. It's like I need to have my Monday, Friday meeting with my assistant. There's a couple key meetings that I know I need to have in a week in order to feel,
Mhm.
like everything's in line. I think those are, and then just self care too. Like I need to mix in a little self care here and there, trying to keep myself healthy, like work it as much as possible. And because I think when I feel overwhelmed and stressed, it's usually if my body is not being taken care of. So that's important for sure.
I think that's a really good point, because I think so often when we're feeling overwhelmed, we assume it's our to-do list
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
not our capacity to handle the to-do
Yeah.
list. Mhm.
Yeah. Most of the time, it's not my to-do list. It's 100% to do with I have not worked out in a while. I
Mhm.
haven't done anything to like take care of my body properly. I've just lost that a little, and then it shows up in an emotional way for me.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's definitely important.
It's nice to have that tuned in component, that self-awareness.
Mhm.
You're like, oh, nope, I need to go work out.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just I get sick and I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah.
It's definitely because I'm not taking care of myself properly, or Connor has to remind me, hey, you gotta take care of yourself too.
We asked everyone on the Powerful Ladies where you would put yourself on the Powerful Ladies scale. If 0 is average everyday human and 10 is the most powerful lady you can imagine. Where would you rank yourself today and on an average day?
Oh my gosh. That's so difficult because I think one of my, like, I want to say like a 7 right now because I don't think I've gotten to a 10. And I think one of the things that keeps me driven is like, I still have a lot to go and I still have a lot more that I want to achieve and a lot of things to check off my list. Um, yeah, on a day to day, maybe 10, but overall, I'm still a 7, got to get to a 10.
This is a powerful and connected community. What is something that's on your to-do list, your wish list, to manifest list that you would like to share with this group so we can help you make it happen?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I would love to be on AD 100. That's always been my like top goal for Kyle and Co. is getting there one day. And then, yeah, that's the one that comes to mind the most for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm already scheming up some things we can talk about offline.
Perfect.
Well, it has been such a pleasure to speak with you today. I'm so glad that Olivia connected us. I'm just really impressed with who you are for holding space for just people and community and bringing people together and how those values show up. Like there are people who are being authentic on, what they're sharing, especially on social media. And I really think that your heart shows up in all those places. And it's really impressive, the balance that you're able to pull off. And
thank you so much.
You're welcome. And thank you for being someone who's out there trying to make things beautiful. We need more of that in our world. And, today, maybe more than ever. And so it's nice having you in your corner, making sure that those things are happening so that the rest of us can focus elsewhere.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a very easy first podcast and it was so much fun. And yeah, I really appreciated talking with you and I'm happy we got connected from Olivia.
Me too. So for everyone who wants to follow you, support you, find you, where can they do those things? We will have a list of all of your links and all the things in our show notes, but where would you recommend that they go right now?
Well, I share a lot on my social media. I think it's a funnel for, sharing each business. So probably just my Instagram account.
And what's that handle?
I think it's Lauren Kyle 1.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much. And I can't wait to see what you're up to next.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share it with a friend. Head to thepowerfulladies.com where you can find all the links to connect with Lauren and everything she's up to, including Kyle & Co., Bar Trove, Trove Living, and Sports Club Atelier. Come hang out with Powerful Ladies on Instagram at Powerful Ladies, and you can find me and all my socials at karaduffy.com. This episode is produced by Amanda Cass, and our audio engineer is Jordan Duffy. I'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Until then, I hope you're taking on being powerful in your life. Go be awesome and up to something you love.